would start, but you're clicking your little mouse here and you're throwing it off. Do it again.
It's going away.
Welcome to... Well, it's actually 3 now. Welcome 3.
Wait, what?
To the Midnight Masterminds. We are here. I am Wyatt and Aaron and Candy May, and we have a special guest, a very special guest.
Special guest.
She's so special.
I'm here.
Katie May's, she always likes to do these things when we do the podcast. Like, she likes to signal me as if, so that no one hears her. It's like if you're about to break into a place and she's trying to do this thing. I muted the earphones because everyone was complaining about a delay.
Oh,
Then I'm not wearing these.
Is that a good enough answer?
Yeah, then I don't know why we're all still wearing them.
Because it's for the look. We're podcasters.
We're not.
Oh. Can they
Recording
see us?
No, I'm just
ourselves?
kidding. Can you hear it?
Now we
Yeah.
can.
I always turn it to about here so we know that it's working.
Oh.
Now it's been so long. It's been about 2 weeks.
Oh. Yeah, it has. Yeah, it has.
What is that?
What?
What? All right. Well, let's do a little rundown, like that movie, The Rundown, with The Rock and Sean William Scott.
Ooh, that's a bad reference.
We're gonna do some news. We're gonna talk about the Conjuring cinematic universe. That's a thing now. Pow! That's why we're talking about it. It's powed into existence.
I like that.
Newsflash about Thor Ragnarok.
Word.
If you give a flying Thor. Colleen doesn't.
Nope, just shook my head.
She gave her Colleen half laugh that she gave.
How do you pronounce that? Is it Colleen?
No, I'm sorry.
Colleen, actually?
It's Colleen, she said.
Colleen. Like
Colleen.
like she's a co-podcaster. I like that.
Exactly.
We're going to talk about Tom Cruise. He broke his ankle like a bitch. Some
He's only
movies
like
that are
5'8", so...
What's that? Oh, that's true. That's true. And how tall are you?
Well, I'm 5'9" and a
Oh,
half.
yeah. So much better.
Well, the cute thing about it is he wears platform shoes on set.
So does Robert Downey Jr., believe it or not.
And
Or
Pacino
do.
has a couple times as well.
What?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, let's not do that.
No, I wasn't trying to do that. Okay.
What?
So, out this week, The Hitman's Bodyguard, Logan Lucky. Aaron wants to talk about Mindhunter.
Yep.
No one else does, but we're going to give him some time.
No, fine. We'll talk about it later.
A couple of reviews. Some of us have seen Annabelle Creation. We'll do
Yeah.
Yeah. And then The
They
Dark
couldn't
Tower,
see that
which
high
I
five.
saw. I mean, I know that.
Yeah.
I could have clapped, and you look, I'm going to high five everyone at once. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so you didn't know.
Yeah, but they couldn't
What
see
do
it.
you know?
They know everything.
The Dark Tower. We're going to talk about The Atomic Blonde, a little old, but that's okay. And then Dunkirk as well, a little
It's
old.
still in theaters. It's
But
not that old.
if it's still in theaters, it's worth discussing.
God.
True.
This is less and less becoming a review podcast and more just talking about movies that are out kind of right
That's
now.
fine.
Not immediate.
That's
We're also
okay.
doing a throwback.
And we're doing a
today.
throwback section.
Throwback.
That's a good transition. That's amazing. We're going to talk a little bit about some movies that, are resonating a little bit a couple months
In our
after
hearts.
release,
In our
In
hearts.
Don't call it transitions though. I don't like that.
Speaking of transitions, no,
Yeah,
just kidding.
you just did it
Speaking
again. I
of
specifically asked
I
you.
know. The Founder,
Yeah.
and then there's this Netflix documentary out. It's called The 13th.
Mm.
Colleen saw it. I saw half of it. Katie May saw a fourth of it.
I want to see it.
Not even a fourth.
There's all kinds of
Facets of
Important.
people.
all kinds of people.
Issues.
We're all over the spectrum on
Yep.
the 13th, and we have time in the end for other throwbacks if they arrive. But
They will.
Oh, it will.
Like Arrival.
No, we're not
I
talking
mean, we
about
could
that
talk
one.
about that. Which, by the way, I do want to point out. At work the other day, I saw a movie that was called Alien Arrival. Not Arrival.
Ooh.
It was called Alien Arrival.
That's frustrating.
Yeah.
Right
Here.
next to where Arrival is, and I thought, that's genius.
I thought I'm gonna throw that in the trash compactor.
It reminded me of when Transformers came out. They had next to the shelf. They had a little animated movie called Transmorphers. Also genius.
I will one up you with the movie, which is documentary through BBC. Dunkirk is actually on our shelves as well. That's also frustrating because people
It's so annoying.
obviously know that that's in.
You know what it's
theaters.
made for? It's made for the moms and grandmas that are going to go out and buy those movies for their kids and see it's a little bit cheap and like, oh, this must be a standard depth version, and they buy it for their kids and then they're so disappointed. Did
Yeah.
that happen to Katie?
So mad.
Yeah, it did. Actually, her grandmother bought her it's gonna be Hell or High Water or something like that, and that was on her Christmas list. So we haven't seen her grandmother since. I think I buried her. It was frustrating.
Deservedly so.
Yes, absolutely. And those aren't,
How did
our
she die?
listeners anyways, so it's not like we need to worry about them. I'm not going to tell you because then that's a confession, and I don't want to give you a full confession.
All right, so what's movie 1 that we're talking
That's
about?
movie one. Well, we're going to talk about the news.
Movie
one.
one.
Look it up.
So have you guys seen movie 1? It's about...
I'm leaving.
I don't even know.
I'm out.
I don't even know where to take that train of thought.
Yeah.
It's about the first movie ever made,
So
okay?
what are the
What?
news with the news?
What are
Real
the news?
talk. Real talk. Boo boo.
What's
So,
the news? Lay
Here's
it
the
on
first
me.
piece of news. They are purposefully now, I don't know if this was on purpose when it came out, probably wasn't, trying to create a cinematic universe out of the Conjuring movies
Word.
due to the success of Annabelle Creation.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you, and you know what's funny? I think it's definitely going to work because after we saw Annabelle Creation, I had not seen all of the Conjuring world movies.
But
And
I
Colleen,
did.
Yeah, Colleen, she said, but you have to. It's important. You have to know what happens. And so that made me go and buy these movies to watch them. And
Watch them all in one night.
it's already working. And I'm
Truth.
terrified of everything now. My life is different.
I have gone insane.
So Katie Mae, have you seen anything but the first Conjuring? Last night you saw The Conjuring 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first Conjuring.
You've only seen the first
Oh.
Conjuring?
Yeah.
You gotta
I
see
feel
all
like
of them.
the first Conjuring is like a different style almost, if I remember it correctly.
Well, what's
It's
funny-
a little different.
In this article by The Hollywood Reporter, James
Ew.
Wan, the director of the first Conjuring movie, he specifically talks about, I think that all of these movies, all 4 of them, stick to the same cinematic style. He said that it's the aesthetic that he set up on purpose, a sort of old school storytelling with these kind of films. And I agree, while I agree with Katie, I agree with both of them. You guys are both right. Donald
Thank
Trump
you.
saying there are, people on both sides who are both great people.
Let's do ourselves a
Thank you.
favor and not mention that name again.
That was it for the rest of the time we
Yeah.
podcast. You got the one
That was
shot.
that was
You
my
used the one
reference.
trump card.
I
Yeah.
took it, all right, and I'm glad I did. No, because the reason I say that is I think that all of those movies are definitely trying to be old school, while they all have their own kind of different flavor to it. I think The Conjuring 2 was really dramatic in the way it was lit and the way it was just directed.
and
The
those
Conjuring-
long shots though.
Yeah, I mean it was really well done, but
Yeah.
it started to really roll around in its craziness a little bit. Where The Conjuring 1 was very creepy, real world esque.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can put
Oh,
it.
yeah, absolutely.
And then Annabelle, the first one. That's all you need to know about it. It's just so freaking boring.
Yeah.
Man, that sucked.
Sorry.
Didn't keep you on your toes.
No.
It
know what,
actually
and we were
left
talking-
me flat-footed.
Yeah. Colleen and I
actually
were
on my
talking about
heels.
it while we were watching the movie, and I think it just came down to the characters in that movie are just super...
They're bland white people.
Yeah, you don't
They
care about them.
That Wonder Bread.
When you watch these
Exactly.
movies, you care if they die and you're invested in it because you care about those characters. And in that movie, I mean, on it they could have died, and I would have not given one flying fuck.
Interesting.
But in the new one, which we'll talk about later, Annabelle Creation, I don't know how they figured out how to make an amazing movie, but they did. So good on them.
All right.
Good on them. Any thoughts on the Conjuring cinematic universe?
I mean, I don't really like those kinds of movies, so I don't have any other thoughts.
But
It
I'm glad
How
you
can-
said
freaked
that,
me
though.
out.
I think it's funny.
Last night, it was hard for me to sleep after watching that freaking movie.
Well, that's
Really?
good.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's weird that the DC cinematic universe is struggling to get off the ground, and then the Conjuring cinematic universe accidentally tripped into existence.
Yeah.
It's so fucking hilarious to me.
I like it. I'm excited to see that, obviously. I've watched the first one, was a little underwhelmed, as everybody else was, I
But
believe.
you were underwhelmed
really?
by it?
Yeah.
Can you leave?
Wow.
Not Conjuring. I'm talking about Annabelle.
Oh, that
Oh,
movie,
yeah,
that
yeah.
movie was butt.
Yeah. No, Conjuring I loved.
B-U-T-T.
I absolutely thought it was...
But you just told me you hadn't seen any of the Conjuring movies other than the Conjuring 1, but now you're saying you've seen Annabelle?
No, I've seen Annabelle. I told you I've seen Annabelle.
But that's part of the.
You just
Conjuring
contradicted what you
universe.
said 4 seconds ago.
No, I didn't.
Listen here, Ann.
You're a liar.
I said I've seen Conjuring 1. I've not seen...
They're all in the same universe,
I understand that.
so you don't
Well-
seem to understand that.
Okay, moving on. How do you feel about the first
Why are we
Annabelle?
confused? Why are we confused about this?
He's so
Anyways.
upset about it. He's so
We
mad.
know what
I'm
happened.
not upset
We
about
know.
it.
We
I'm
know.
Colleen and I are on the same page. You're
Well,
good.
y'all are a bunch of assholes.
Look, and so you've seen The Conjuring 1 and you've seen Annabelle. So the creepy nun, they're the next movie that in this universe is supposed to be about the nun. And the way that I read it last night, I thought it was the nun and the Crooked Man have their own movie together. It's actually two separate movies. There's going to be a Crooked Man movie, and there's going to be a nun movie. And if you've seen,
I don't like that.
yeah, if you've seen The Conjuring 2, they make a very clear point to say the Crooked Man is not actually a demon or a ghost in and of itself. It was just used as kind of an illusion to make everyone think that's what it was, and then the real demon was, the nun. So, I mean, I don't think the Crooked Man would have his own movie. It's like making a movie about a bedsheet.
But then,
It
like,
doesn't really do anything on its own.
they
Yeah.
also like brought that toy back with them. The Warners,
The Warrens.
the Warrens.
And the Crooked Man, in my opinion, was like the shittiest part of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like they're just kind of going off of like, ooh, this was fun to do with the CGI. Let's do more of it.
Yeah, it's like the whole movie is like
Sexually.
on the edge of your seat, like nail-biting horror, and then all of a sudden,
That
this like
happened.
it definitely looked like they tried to go for a claymation look, but they didn't want to actually do claymation, so they CGI'd it. So you're just sitting there going, "That's so out of place. It's really bizarre."
Yeah.
And that's getting its own movie. That's sad. The Nun will be creepy, but I just figured The
Creepy
Conjuring 3
AF.
would be about that.
Do you
It
know
will
who's
be.
directing that, or is that even in the works?
No idea.
No.
Well,
No,
it's
I-
supposed to come out in 2018,
Yeah.
so I'm sure it's already like a
Like-
decent
Yeah.
way.
The Nun will be a great movie. I
Yes.
guess, but again, The Nun ended up in Annabelle, but we'll talk about that later too.
Interesting.
All right, before I move on to my next piece of news, Aaron, did you have anything on your agenda here? Pass the ball over to you.
Well, the only thing that I was taking a look at is did everybody hear about Daniel Craig's big announcement?
No.
Is he gay?
No, but if
Oh,
he
that-
He's
that
was,
would be-
pregnant.
That would be
I'd-
big.
I'd be first in line. So.
He's adopting a kid.
He is returning to the James Bond role.
What?
I believe, if I remember correctly, he signed on for 2 more. So it's at least confirmed that he's going to be back for another round for James Bond after he had already said he's done with James Bond. He's not doing it again. But yeah, he's coming back for at least 1 more. I believe 2 more, actually.
Well, he's a fantastic Bond.
I
was
know.
excited about. Everyone was saying that Idris Elba was going to get that job, and I was really holding out hope for that. That would have been really cool, Black James Bond. And I think Idris Elba is my favorite actor that's working right now in this moment. I love him.
I like that.
I was kind of excited for the idea of like a younger James Bond, like a new face to like.
They talked about like Tom Hiddleston too.
Yeah, to like
That'd have
just
been pretty cool.
bring out.
I would have been okay with it just because he's kind of like got that suave kind of thing going for him.
Yeah,
Daniel Craig's my favorite Bond.
No, he's
yeah,
great.
he
I'm not
is. But
disappointed.
like, let's be honest, he is getting a little old, so it would have been nice to like bring a fresh face and just
Right.
like let's start a new like chapter in the Bond
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
I mean, these new ones though, they just keep getting better though. That's true.
If-
Well,
yeah,
except
if
for
they were
I forget about
underperforming-
Spectre sometimes. That movie was not as good as.
I still like Spectre. It's definitely not one of my favorites by far. I mean, like Skyfall was better than Spectre for sure.
Casino Royale was fantastic.
Casino Royale was amazing, absolutely. I mean, they've actually had the highest ratings for out of like all the collection of Bond movies. He has the highest ratings out
Yeah.
of all the Bonds.
Like the best reviewed movies, you mean?
Yeah,
Nice.
yes, absolutely.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
most of them are either in the low 90s or 89 or 88 for most all of his
Except for
movies.
probably what was that?
Spectre was in the 70s, I think.
Well, what was that one that came out after the Quantum of Solace?
Oh yeah, no, that one was.
That movie was like a butthole.
I think it was like 79 though. It's got a little.
Really?
Yeah, it got overrated. Yeah.
So that movie
Wow.
was out during the.
That was my least favorite out of all of them.
That is my least favorite movie of all time. I think.
Okay, that's
Wow.
that's
Wow,
pushing it.
okay.
Wow.
Have you guys?
He's passionate, people.
Let me tell you 2 things about Quantum
Two
of
things,
Solace.
man.
One thing
Lay
that's
it on
serious,
us.
one thing that's not. One thing
Okay.
that's serious about Quantum of Solace is that movie was being made during the Writers Guild of America strike, and that movie like suffered heavily because the writer of that movie went on strike. So the producers were like, "Well, we're not going to let that interfere with our release date. We'll just write it ourselves." And
Oops.
there's one thing that's evident: if a producer writes a script, fuck you.
Unless the producer already was a screenwriter.
That's very uncommon. 2 very different types of people.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
Aaron's saying that
uncommon,
because
but I'm
he's
just
trying to
saying
do
that's
both
the only
himself.
scenario.
Yep. A little smirk on your face. Knock that.
I don't have no fucking smirk on my face.
Second thing is, there's some hilarious mistakes in that. There's like videos on YouTube of like the hilarious mistakes from that movie.
Yeah.
My favorite is there's this extra that's in the background that's like sweeping. I don't know why. I have no clue why this happened. He's sweeping in the background. I can't imagine what was going through the director and the editor's head. But he says, action, I'm assuming. And everyone's doing their normal thing. And in the background, there is a man pretending to sweep, except the broom is not even on the fucking ground.
Oh,
He's like a foot above the ground. He's just moving it in the
Doing his
air.
thing.
It's so stupid.
Doing his
hilarious.
thing.
That'd be me as an extra.
So that is my explanation of why that movie is just anus.
All right, that's fair.
Anyway,
That's too funny.
do you have anything else here? So you have Tom Cruise up. That's part of what I got here too.
Yeah.
Breaks his ankle.
Snap!
Snap. That's delayed the production, but I don't think it's. They said it's not going to affect the
Is that
release
how
date.
it sounded?
Yeah, I said it was hiatus.
Production for what?
Oh, they're working on Mission Impossible 6.
Oh, okay.
And also about Mission Impossible 6. You
I
should know.
sounded so disappointed.
If you start
Oh.
getting into 6, that's start getting a lot.
Yeah.
I know, but I think you two, Katie May and Colleen, will appreciate this. You know, Henry Cavill is the villain in Mission Impossible 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You don't like that idea?
No.
I don't either, because I don't think
He's
he can be
Superman.
evil. He
Yeah.
just seems too like nice and earnest, I
Yeah.
guess. But what's funny to me about that is in that movie, can't imagine. Okay, he has a mustache in that movie. But they are doing reshoots on Justice League right now at the same time because apparently it's unwatchable. So there's like a
Quote,
debate
unquote.
on whether or not he's supposed to shave this mustache, and apparently they decided he will keep the mustache so they don't affect continuity in Mission Impossible 6. So he's shooting all of his Superman reshoots right now with a mustache.
No.
And they are digitally removing the
Yes.
mustache. I'm not kidding. This is real. It's costing them millions of extra
course.
dollars to remove this mustache.
Obviously.
Because I guess it is a lot harder to reproduce a lip than it is a mustache. So I guess the debate between them was, do you, Justice League, digitally like sketch on a lip, or do we, Mission Impossible 6, digitally sketch on a mustache? And they couldn't figure it out, and that's what they came up
Damn
with. And what's funny is I really think there's like a lot of wasted money going into this, because apparently it is much easier to put a mustache on a lip, because you don't have to get like the skin tones and the skin movements down. It's just hair covering something.
No, I'm just looking at your mustache.
Also, couldn't you just like do like makeup with a
Yeah.
mustache, like put on a fake mustache?
but that wouldn't be as accurate, I feel
If they already had a mustache, they would be really hard to like recreate that specific mustache.
Unless you like swept up all his mustache.
Like,
I just-
keep that hair.
I just feel
Don't
like
wash
with
it down.
Made a
makeup
face
artists
wig.
today, they're like insane.
That's true.
They're just like super talented.
Yeah. Either way, that's super ridiculous
It's
that
what
that's
they came
happening
up
at
with.
all. So, Mission Impossible 6, a little bit of trouble with minor stit. But I saw the video of Tom Cruise breaking his ankle. He hits the side of that building really fucking hard.
Yeah, it was
And then
during
he
the
walks
stunt.
around limping. I'm thinking, if you have a broken ankle, why don't you just stop, man? You're not trying to be a tough guy for
He's a
anybody.
trooper, man.
Yeah, he's a true actor.
An actor.
I
And-
saw The Hotel from Jack Reacher too. So did Colleen.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, my mom
in
was
New
like,
Orleans.
Tom Cruise was there, and we're like, ooh.
Do you mean?
And then I was like, I like Jack Reacher 1 because that was filmed in Pittsburgh.
And I was like, I have seen neither.
And Jack Reacher 1 is a good movie, and Jack Reacher 2 is kind of up there with Quantum of Solace in terms
Wow.
of shit levels.
It was just not
You
good.
should say down there, actually.
Up
Yeah.
there. It's a shit hill.
Up yours, man.
Well, either way, it wasn't a great movie. But my
well-
mom was like, I loved it because it was in the French Quarter.
All French your quarter. All right.
Oh, interesting.
Newsflash.
Newsflash.
Oh, is it about Flash?
No, it's about Thor
Oh.
Oh, kind
and
of.
this new
You should have said
Japanese
News
trailer.
Thor.
News Thor.
Got
yeah.
'em.
You're so right. I'm an idiot. So
Idiot.
in the Japanese trailer for Thor the Dark... Nope, that's not it. Let me stop before I F it up.
Did you
Thor Ragnarok.
I
meant
thought you
the
were going to say
Japanese trailer?
Thor the Dark Note.
Thor the Dark Narok. How about just Thor 3? Let's make it easy. In the Japanese trailer for that, Doctor Strange is in it, and I read this article about, oh my god, Doctor Strange is in the movie. And my question for them is, did you not see Doctor Strange? Because that was totally in the credits for that. You fucking idiot. So
And then you punch that person
about
directly
this.
in the face.
That's like saying, hey man, Chris Hemsworth has short hair in Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, we saw the fucking trailer. Anyway, I thought that was a stupid newsflash. Now we could enjoy it together. Out this week, I'm super excited for Logan Lucky.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, that looks good.
Steven Soderbergh hasn't made a movie since, I think, Haywire. Is that true? Or is it...
I don't know. Unverified.
Was it...
No way to verify that.
Nope. We gotta call Kara. She's the walking IMDb. It's true. For those listening, that's Katie May's mom. And whenever we're talking about movies, she will add in some strange...
There's like some
strange
good,
fact. But also,
like, facts.
it's always a fact that people already know. Like, we're talking, like, we could be talking about James Bond, and she'll be like, oh, isn't Daniel Craig in those movies? Like, here you are, a walking IMDb.
And she's like, what?
We could use you for almost anything.
She tries. All
She
right.
does.
So, Magic Mike,
Oh, that's right, he did do that, didn't
Side Effects. He's done The Nick, which is a
he? Yeah,
TV
he was,
series.
yeah.
I like that show.
It's a good TV
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
It's good.
But now he's doing Logan Lucky.
Absolutely.
Sweet. Well, it looks really good. It's getting reviewed very well. Like, one of his
It's been
best reviewed.
verified.
Yeah.
It's been
By
verified
Just verified
by
it.
Kara.
We called her up.
Well, I'm going to see that tomorrow. Super stoked about it. Also this weekend, that I'm really excited to see, is The Hitman's Bodyguard. Only because
Oh, shit.
it looks like a nice guilty pleasure movie.
Absolutely.
Like a movie that totally not walking in for any kind of substance. It's just going to be hilarious.
Yeah, you're not going in with a pen and paper. You're going in just to chill out and watch Samuel Jackson use some bad language.
I want to see him
wanna
motherfuck
laugh.
at least 3 people.
Yeah. And
Fuck?
then
No, motherfuck.
Oh.
I don't want to see. Stop normalizing porn.
Sorry.
we
Just
can't
what
do
I'm
that.
doing.
Say it out loud.
I'm just trying. I prepared for this podcast, okay?
Colleen, don't you dare use the M word.
Sorry.
Aaron's really trying not to use the M word right now.
All right, what's next? What are we talking about next?
Katie May really does not want the N word.
Well, I guess we're going to get this done in a half an hour.
What's next?
No one.
So. Moving along!
I brought up the Hitman's Bodyguard. No one wants to comment on it. No one wants to see
No,
it.
we're not allowed to. What's
No
next?
one gives a fuck. Ryan Reynolds, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. We can only talk about Samuel Jackson.
Up next is Aaron wants to talk about The Mind Hunter.
Nope,
And
move
without
on.
the-
Next.
Next.
What about the bounty hunter? Like I looked up
We get our goddamn laughs under control, please.
Sorry.
So, Dog the Bounty Hunter is about this bounty hunter who lives out in Dade County, and he. Okay, so Mindhunter was filmed in Pittsburgh. This is the reason why I want to talk about this.
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
Don't be doing that. David Fincher directed about like 3 episodes of this. Pretty much what it is an FBI elite task force is formed to go after serial killers. And this is back in the time before serial killers were actually even a thing. So it shows down the psychology and study that FBI started taking a look into the actual murders that were going on throughout America. This actually led to a lot of big arrests down the road, but it's a TV series I'm very excited about. It comes out on October 13th.
Do we know what serial killers they're going to talk about?
They don't have anything specific.
Well, that's dumb.
Yeah, I know that they're going to be talking.
You gotta watch the show to find out.
Yeah.
No, I just want to
we
know.
don't
I
have
don't know
impatient
everything
people.
right now.
This is a very impatient podcast. Yeah, so at this point, you're going to have to wait till October 13th. So, yeah, Friday the 13th, if that makes anybody scared. Yeah. It's going to be real
I'm
good.
Stop it.
So load up your Netflix and let's go ahead and cuddle up under the covers. That sounds interesting. But let's move it along.
We're moving along. Ooh, okay. Reviews. We're gonna review movies.
Nope, moving along.
Currently. Okay, moving past all those, then throwback reviews.
Okay, we're done. Let's go. We're done.
And
Podcast.
scene.
Oh,
Good job.
What reviews are
everyone.
we looking at?
Okay, well, actually, a lot of us have seen some stuff that's out.
Yeah, move it along.
Okay, past Annabelle to the Dark Tower.
Heyo!
Are we not moving along?
No, we're gonna
All right,
stay
let's
with
talk about the Dark Tower. No.
Aw, I specifically watched this dang movie for this dang podcast.
Which one?
Annabelle.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
All right, cool.
Move
Right.
along. With the review.
Who gave him the remote?
Dang it.
Give it back. So Annabelle created. We talked a lot about the Conjuring
Yes.
universe. This right here is, I think, if this movie had bombed, kind of the way that Annabelle did, there would be no universe. So they're quite lucky
Yep.
that they got a talented
I see
script
what
and a
you did
talented team here. What did I do there?
We're quite Logan lucky.
No, I didn't. No, that's a reference that's way too out of the way.
Not anymore.
Fuck you. Okay. All right, Colleen, take us away.
Come on,
All
Colleen.
right, well, this movie
Colleen.
is... My name is Colleen.
Excuse me. My name is Colleen.
You don't have to worry about doxing me. It's okay.
All right.
So this
Parrot
movie...
T. Gang.
Parrot T. Ganger. Where is he?
I'm gonna choke him out.
We're gonna kill him.
He's about 120 pounds. About yay high.
I hope he ends up on this podcast one day.
I hope he ends up on the 6 o'clock news.
Oh my goodness.
For what?
Murder.
The murder.
Murder, that's what we were talking
Yeah,
about.
that's the other M word.
Okay.
No one has any
Moving
idea. Colleen, talk about it.
Sorry.
Quick.
Okay, so this movie's like the 4th installment, I think. 4th?
1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
I can't
Yeah.
count. I was a history major.
Ah.
So,
Not an excuse.
yes, it is.
No, it's not.
How do math?
I don't know.
Is math related to
You need
science?
to learn
Is
English.
math
Learn
related to
math.
I went
science,
to learn
though?
about
That's what I
movies.
want to
How about
know.
we move it along?
Somebody knows that reference besides me and K-May.
You have 5, 4,
You talking about the damn movie, Colleen?
Okay.
Move it along!
So this is the prequel to the prequel that was Annabelle, so it's kind of convoluted, but it actually, like, I've heard this said a lot where it was a lot better than it should have been, and that was so true. Mostly, like, what I really liked about it was the fact that the tension was, like, really gradual. It was a really gradual build. There's no stupid jump scares where you're like, oh, it was just like some doll. Or, I mean, it was a doll, but...
And swing and a miss. You were doing
But that's
so
like
good.
usually the incredible
just
out the window.
This is your last guest appearance.
The door is over
All
there.
right, I'm gonna leave now. Goodbye.
No, I'm just kidding. I like
But-
what you were saying, so.
You know, like in
continue.
a lot of like these like other horror movies, there's these jump scares where it's like, oh, like it's not the thing that we
It was
thought.
cheap
It's just like and it
and-
Yeah.
Absolutely.
totally depletes the tension, so you're just like. Okay, like, you know, so, but the entire movie is just like you're holding in this breath and you're getting to the end and it's just like, oh my god, it's like this final big climax. So I think that they did really well, but personally for me, the audio and like the way they used sounds was the biggest accomplishment because like the house was old and it was really creaky and you could hear everything that was like you could hear like the footsteps and you could
Absolutely,
hear
right.
the breathing of like the little girls that were scared because they were like the main protagonists, which was also a good choice for them. So yeah, that was my biggest like gold star that they got.
I like that. I like when any movie doesn't have to just be a horror movie uses sound design to the fullest
Yeah.
because that's one of the most unused utilities in the actual industry, in my opinion. People kind of don't really look at mastering that as
Yeah.
the way that they should. And the master of tension, Alfred Hitchcock, once said that instead of just blowing everybody up, in a sense, you should show them the bomb that's under the table. What that refers to is if somebody knows that there's a bomb under the table, and then you just have dialogue, which is exactly like what Tarantino's done in multiple movies. But I mean, Hitchcock is probably the one who started all of that with the Master of Tension, and I kind of, I haven't seen it, but that sounds like something
Well, there's so much tension in the movie because I think a lot of the design of the house and a lot of the situations that they're set up in the movie are so clever, and that's what makes it so cool. Like my favorite part, and it's in the middle of the movie, and the climax is great and fantastic and huge. But my favorite part is when this girl she has polio and she can't really walk by herself. So she can't get up and down the stairs. Well, they had this little chair installed. And it's old. I think the movie takes place in probably like the 30s?
No, I would
40s?
say the late 40s.
Yeah. So it's old, and it's very old and mechanical, but you sit on the chair, and it takes you up the stairs.
Yeah.
And as soon as you see that in the back of your head, you know you're seeing a horror movie, you go, oh no, what the hell is that going to do?
Yeah. Especially like the slow, gradual, and that's actually great imagery too about the build of
Oh, yeah, because then you have this girl who's strapped in. Like, one of the like
stipulations to it, like being able to work.
Yeah, is that the seatbelt has to be clicked in.
Yeah.
So once if you unclick it, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And you can't go up and down without it being on. So she gets into the chair and she has to go downstairs because she's about to be killed by this demon. I won't tell you like the details of it, but she gets into the chair.
You ruined it, but that's fine.
I just ruined the whole movie. It's fine. Yeah. So she gets into the chair and she's going down, and you think she's going to escape, but it gets to the top of the stairs and it knows how to operate the chair. And so it stops. And then slowly she has to be pulled up this stairway towards the demon that's at the top of the stairs waiting for her.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so creepy. The whole time you're just like you're grabbing the armrests, and they're gonna like snap off because you're like, oh my god! You're sitting there for like a full minute watching her go up towards the stairs, and it's like torture.
Yeah.
The whole movie is so inventive and clever like that, which is weird because the fourth movie in a franchise, you don't normally get that. And with the previous Annabelle, which I've now seen after watching Annabelle Creation, being so boring and bland and just lame, this movie should have sucked.
Yeah,
should have sucked
definitely.
so bad. And they just got such a good team of people to do it. And ultimately, it's a better script as well. And I think one thing Colleen and I were talking about kind of when we were discussing this whole universe is that these movies work so much better when you care about the characters.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when you put like 5 or 6, I think, little girls in a house together, they're not only young, but they're women. Yeah. So you're immediately sympathetic towards these characters. Whereas the previous movie, it was like a married couple, and they were kind of boring and lame. So you're not invested. You don't care.
Yeah.
It's like watching Michael Myers movies. Like, you want to see those people get killed.
Yeah.
So you can't build tension on something that you want to happen. You build tension on things you don't want to have.
Yeah, that comes with writing great character, and absolutely. So it sounds like a lot of great elements.
It's fantastic. It's very for a movie that's a period piece at the same time. Yeah. It's a period piece while like there's all the cards are stacked against this movie. Yeah, and it somehow puts them together.
Well, that's usually
there's even a scarecrow in it.
Yeah, I know. Which
imagine
is
all the
cliche
times,
enough.
Yeah, imagine all the times you've seen a scary scarecrow in a movie.
Yeah.
And in this movie, it works.
Yeah.
So well.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's one of those things that you're not even thinking about. You're watching a horror movie. You're just watching a good movie.
Yeah, and it could totally work like standalone, like in the way that the story is set up.
Oh yeah, you don't need any of these other movies for it to make sense.
That's awesome.
But it also like masterfully ties in all the other movies of like the Conjuring universe and what it is now. And I was like very excited about it. I was like, after the movie, I was like, why? Did you see all of them? Did you see what they did?
That's awesome. And I was like, nope, which is why we have to watch all of them. So I'm now an expert in Conjuring lore. Because after we watched the movies, I read all about it too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
One other interesting thing I just want to like point out, just because like I was reading a review and I want to cite this person, but I completely forget where I read
your source.
it.
Yeah, we don't
I'm
cite,
trying to, just so you know,
here.
this isn't mine, but
somebody
it's
out there
somewhere.
Someone smarter than me said this, okay?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's not nice.
The whole setting. Stop it. The whole setting is very reminiscent of the painting called Christina's World, which is a postmodernist painting. Oh, and I should probably like look up the artist.
That's why we have laptops, except for me.
Pretty much, it's this painting where it's this woman looking up towards a house, and it's a barren Andrew Wyeth. Okay, 1948, which is like exactly the time period the movie is set in. And I don't know if this was an intentional thing that the movie people did, But it was very, like, interesting that this reviewer made the connection, because that's, like, exactly the feel of the movie, where this woman is looking up onto this house, and she feels isolated, and...
What's it called again?
Christina's World by Andrew Wyeth.
Christina's World.
It's egg tempera on gesso panel,
Tape, tape,
1948.
Well, there it is.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
I've
like
seen
that's
this.
exactly it's a very famous painting, and when they made that connection, I was like, oh my god.
What's even better, dude, it's like, that is completely what it is in the movie.
Right?
You even have off to the side that little house, that was where he made all the toys.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So I don't know if that was intentional. Like, it kind of
had
feels
to
like
have
it is
been.
now.
Yeah, it
but
had to have been.
If you want to get the feel for this movie, that's what it is. If
Wow.
you look up that
Yeah,
painting.
check it out.
So yeah.
Honestly, just looking at the painting, because I've seen it in the past before, it is like really jarring.
Yeah, it's
Right.
weird. I now that we've talked more about this movie, I've talked myself into liking it even more than when the podcast began. So I'll probably find myself watching that again. Aaron, what are you doing on Friday?
I know what I'm doing on Friday.
What's that?
I'm going to the movies with you.
Oh, no, I don't want to go. Anyway,
Well, I'm going to the movies by myself.
so there are 3 other movies. Which one are we going to take the ball on? Dark Tower, Atomic Blonde, or Dunkirk?
I am fine with talking about. Actually, let's talk about Dark Tower. You were about to review that.
Oh goodness! Oh good. Okay, well I'm the only one who's seen it, so
Okay, we'll move it along.
So sit down and shut up. All
Yeah,
right.
move along.
You guys want to hear this, or
I
you
do.
not give up? Okay, so here's the thing about the Dark Tower. I have the most unpopular opinion about the movie, that I liked it.
Hey-o.
Sorry, if that probably makes you want to turn off the podcast, go fuck yourself. 'Cause
Some
it's-
people liked it. It made
like that.
$60 million already. Or that's the budget. Just kidding.
it
I can't
spent
internet.
$60 million.
Wah, wah, wah.
So here's the thing: for a big action movie like this to cost $60 million as well, to be like pretty much like considered a low budget action movie by comparison to the amount of money that gets thrown at stuff these days, it did the best that it absolutely could. And when it comes to, sorry, I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't think it's the best it could do. I just think that they did a great job with what they were setting out to.
Say it with your chest. Don't back up from it.
No, I'm gonna say it with my chest. All right. I'm gonna pin the tail on this movie's ass. All right. Let's do this. What I mean is, all of the reviews that I've been reading, all of the feedback that has been coming out, is that it's not as good as it could have been based on if you had gone by what the source material was giving you. If you had gone by what the Dark Tower books, these widely revered, like hugely
And there's a
popular
lot of
books.
them.
Yeah,
I mean-
there's tons, right? I think there's like 7 or 8 of them.
No, I think there's a lot more than that.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll look
It's
that
a
up
series.
Regardless, I haven't read any of them, so I was very uninitiated when I walked in. And I think not knowing anything about the books, not knowing anything about the story, just seeing the movie for what it was and enjoying it and appreciating it for what it was, I thought it was very good. Now, I can see how all these people have probably over like however many books there are, read them and appreciated them and projected their own thoughts and opinions onto what these characters would be and what they would look like. I bet you that movie was probably very disappointing because it was only $60 million.
There are 8 books, by the way.
There are
You're
8 books?
right, yeah.
Oh, so I was right. Go fuck yourself, Aaron.
I'm just making sure.
Thanks for being a fact checker.
Fact checker?
No, fact checker.
Making sure you were calling me a fact checker.
Nope. We allow homos and non-homos around here.
Absolutely. We love you all.
Okay, man, you want
And
to
we really like dancing people. Dancing queens.
Also, I just want to point out it made $36 million. So I want to.
So this-
I'm really.
Yeah, this movie is in the reason I'm bringing all this up is this movie is in the middle of a catastrophic bomb.
So you're
Yeah.
trying to bridge the gap between that 37 million, that 60 million, so
Yeah.
you can be right.
No, that's not it at all. So the movie is bombing hard, and I get why. Like if imagine this, because I want to make this like I want to put this in perspective for people of our generation who probably have read something similar. It's like if they took all the Harry Potter books, like all 7 of them, and made them into one movie.
Ooh.
It would be really disappointing for
Yeah.
all of the people out there who had read all those
That'd be
books.
Why
cool.
would they do that?
So with the Dark Tower, what I don't understand from a filmmaking side of things and from a studio side of things, where all they're trying to do is build these universes and build these cinematic universes and always trying to start a tentpole franchise. Why, if you have that much material, do you do that? That makes no sense. You could have Lord of the Rings the shit out of that.
Yeah,
and it's coming
totally.
from one of the most well-known authors of all time.
Probably at
Stephen
this point.
King,
Like the most well-known modern author. Period.
Yeah.
And he's had probably the most success with turning his books into movies as well.
I think he's had the most books adapted to film.
Yeah.
So his stuff obviously lends itself to film like perfectly. Now here's the thing. That is all like the political money-making side jargon that people are getting upset about. And people, I think, are upset about such a missed opportunity. That I get. But what I don't get is to unfairly judge the movie and the filmmakers for doing the best they could with the script that they were given. They were given a script, they filmed it, and they did a good job. Like, Idris Elba crushed it. Like, he was the star of that movie. I know that he's already a movie star, but god damn it, is this guy awesome. Like, he is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the direction wasn't bad at all. Like, the kid was really likable. The only thing I didn't really like about the movie itself was Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, no.
I've
and
heard
his
people that
Lincoln?
liked him, actually.
Here's the thing about me and Matthew McConaughey. I've never seen him play a villain before. I've seen him play dark characters, like if you've seen True Detective. But I've never seen him play, like, a villain, and I just wasn't buying it. Like, he was doing a good job acting and playing the character.
But you could tell he was
nothing. Yeah, there's nothing that terrifies me about Matthew McConaughey. He's not scary. He's too suave and perfect. Like, that's not scary to me. He's not unhinged. He's very methodical, and he plans and plots everything out. And then in the end, this grand wizard sorcerer is killed by a bullet. Albeit it was a great shot, and he was able to like project. Like he shot the way he shot it. He not only curved the bullet, but it ricocheted off something else to hit Matthew McConaughey in the chest. Very cool shot. But I mean, in the movie, he had this. He just as an example, he projected this like force field around him that stopped all the glass that was coming towards him from a window. You don't do that when you know you're being fired at. Like his character, I don't like the character itself, and I don't like the way Here's the thing, I don't think it's Matthew McConaughey's fault. I think he was just miscast completely.
Poor Matthew.
Okay.
I don't know who else could have played it. I didn't even think about that. I just think that was just weird casting.
Yeah.
Just strange. Doesn't make any sense.
No, I mean that's a pretty good advice. Like, it's still their job to convince you that they're this person. But like,
if he was cast in the movie, if I'm Matthew McConaughey, I'm cast in The Dark Tower. I'm gonna give it my fucking all, and he did. Like, he threw himself into the role. You could tell, but I feel like his presence doesn't.
He was set up to fail for you.
Yeah, for me anyway.
Yeah.
Like, his presence wasn't ominous. You know what I mean?
makes
You were
sense.
supposed to be terrified by this person, and there was nothing scary about him.
Maybe it's because he didn't have his Lincoln.
Honestly, I think that was part of what
Could be.
took it away from me. But ultimately, to recap, the movie itself is good, but probably only if you haven't read the books.
Yeah.
If
That
you've
makes
read the
sense.
books, I would strongly avoid, like...
Because it's probably
this
impossible
movie,
for somebody who's read the books to actually
Like-
be objective about it.
Yeah,
and
you
keep
can't
themselves
be.
away from
Yeah,
that.
No
you
sense.
that
totally
makes sense.
can't be.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of movies who bomb, there's this movie called Dunkirk. And they bomb literally in this movie because obviously it's one of my favorite war movies, actually.
Oh, it is not one of your favorite war movies?
Yeah, I've told you that.
I know you have.
Okay, good.
See, the audience hasn't heard it, though, so I'm trying to...
Yeah, but I didn't like the way you said that.
No, you have, though.
Rude.
Truth.
It's being rude.
I'm sorry, guys.
Anyways.
I've talked a lot the past few minutes. I'm just going to sit down and shut up.
Yeah, that's great if you just move it along.
I've also seen Dunkirk, but I'll leave my 2 cents out.
No. We want to hear about your...
No, you start. Tension, huh?
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, now I'm upset.
Cough.
Okay, so I liked the movie.
Why is Katie May the one pushing the podcast along? You were gone for like 30 minutes.
I was not gone for 30
Maybe not 30
You
minutes.
danced in the other room.
I had to go to the bathroom. And you were talking about a movie I haven't seen, so...
So,
Okay.
Dunkirk. Liked it. Saw it. And we saw it in 70 millimeter, right?
Ooh.
that is correct.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It was good. It was an experience.
It's a huge experience.
The only thing I didn't totally like is that you don't get a full story of a character.
That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
I mean, you can dislike that. I think they were going for that. It does make it a little hard to watch.
It is, because you're not invested in anything.
You're not-
like,
you don't
you're
have
not
one
rooting
person-
for anyone. You're
right.
not like...
Why not?
Do you think
it's kind of like watching a massacre take place?
Yeah.
And that's what it was supposed to be. But I can see it's not. It's very untraditional in the way it's made.
Well, do you think if you knew more about the actual history of it, you think you would
You
like
would be
it
probably
better?
more focused
Because-
on that than you would
Yeah.
be for a character.
Yeah,
I'd say so, for
probably.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
You would be, because if you know anything about that,
Yeah.
the evacuation, and you're interested in history and you're interested in that time period, I'm sure all it is like looking into a window into that day.
Yeah.
And that's all that movie was trying to do.
Yeah. And I got
There's
that.
almost
They
no
did it
dialogue
really
in
well.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No dialogue at all. The 70mm is gorgeous. I mean, the best shots come in when it's Tom Hardy flying in the sky.
Oh yeah.
And that is my favorite character arc as well. There's not really a character arc, but his story is my favorite. He's basically he becomes the only fighter jet left on the beach, trying to protect everybody who's on the beach from getting bombed down from the enemy. And he reaches a point where he knows that if he doesn't turn back now, he's going to run out of gas. But he also knows that if he turns back, it will be completely vulnerable. So he runs his plane completely out of gas and coasts until he literally cannot fly anymore because he can't coast any further. And then he gets captured by the enemy. And that's such a cool story. But all the stuff with him up in the sky, all of the shots, especially in 70mm, and it wasn't even a big screen that we saw it on. Just watching it on a 70mm print was so breathtaking. Like, especially the horizon shots and everything. Oh, it's unbelievable.
It was a good movie.
Absolutely, and I really enjoyed Cillian Murphy's character. You didn't even know what his name was on there, which is kind of a cool element that Christopher Nolan went with. He said specifically for the reasons we were already talking about the fact that it's not necessarily about one single person. Everybody kind of knows the story of like World War II and what happened, but even back then, people would call it shell shock. So in a sense, what he was experiencing was what they would call shell shock, and he was not ready to go back into war. He was trying to, in a sense, run away from that situation. And it's something that a lot of soldiers nowadays, are seeking treatment about and everything like that. So it's kind of a pretty awesome way to introduce a character that is going through a lot of different things that anybody can't even imagine going into war. But they did jump around with a couple different characters. Obviously, everybody loves the fact that Harry Styles is in there, and I thought he did a really good job.
I actually had no idea he was in that movie.
Which is probably a good thing, too.
Yeah.
Actually.
I knew he was going to be in the movie because I read about it, and it didn't cross my mind once, and I didn't recognize him either, which is really funny.
Me either.
Like,
I
I
had
knew
no
he was going to
idea.
be there, and I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
So,
Which
good on him
is-
for not being noticed.
Absolutely. That's it speaks to him being able to actually find his character and be that on screen.
Yeah.
So.
And one thing I found interesting that I appreciated more after I saw the movie is that in the beginning it talks about 1 day, 1 week, and then there was another time period, 1 hour, I think.
Yeah.
And that was how these different stories were told. And that when you first see it, you're like, I don't get it. At least for me, like when I first saw those up there, I was like, what? And then as time is jumping around, you're thinking, oh, okay. So this one person's character story, you keep jumping back to it and cutting back to it, only takes place over 1 hour.
Yes.
And then this person's story only takes place over 1 day. So even though Tom Hardy's story, I think, is the one that is the hour, you keep cutting back to that, and it's kind of the heart of the whole movie almost, where like you're watching him do this for the whole movie. It's only an hour's worth of time, whereas the other characters you've been cutting back to may have already experienced what he's been experiencing because their story is supposed to be over a week.
Which
It was at first confusing, but once you really sit down and think about it, like, oh, that's a very creative way to put that together.
Yeah, and I've never seen that done before. And
Yeah.
that was absolutely amazing. I like that's another thing about it is Christopher Nolan's obviously a great filmmaker, but I was really interested just in the story in itself. I mean, I obviously put like Saving Private Ryan up there as one of my favorites, but I don't know. I just thought the realism that it brought, I thought it was amazing.
Very, very creative. I don't. For me, my top 3 at the moment in terms of war movies, Dunkirk is now up there. Then you have Saving Private Ryan, as per usual, and Fury, which I think is phenomenal.
Yeah, Fury is definitely
I
really
love
good. Actually, another thing too to touch on with Dunkirk is the sound design was amazing.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
we were
Yeah.
talking, like that.
Nice.
That's what really captured me into it too. Is the fact that like I don't know if I've ever felt like I've been in battle before until I've seen that movie. Like
Just the ticking.
Oh, that
Yeah.
that was
The
just
tension.
playing the whole
Yeah.
time.
Just
Absolutely.
a clock, and then all of a sudden just stops.
Mhm.
It was crazy.
Well, and that's another thing too. Is like the people who can use silence and know when to use silence.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing for a filmmaker.
Silence
to do.
is a weapon.
It is absolutely. I was extremely happy
Don't
with that.
cry.
Such a great movie.
It was emotional.
I mean, and obviously the cinematography was great with that. The cinematography we also loved with another one, which Atomic Blonde was another one.
The atomic balls. Got it.
You didn't- I don't know how to read you on that one. So what? I mean, what?
Are we moving into that now?
Moving on.
Here, you start, and then I'll interject.
It took me about 20 minutes to really understand what I was not that I was thrown off by what I was watching, but I was expecting John Wick 3, and just because obviously it's gonna be the same director, but then it took me 20 minutes to kind of understand. I would say readjust my expectations of it. I definitely enjoyed it. I thought they did a lot of things very well. I love the fact that they did it in that time period and that it kind of, I don't know, I loved where they did it too. Obviously, everything's usually done in America, and I feel like we have to do that, but I'm glad we didn't. And then obviously the twist was very good on there. I'm not sure if we're going to be dropping a lot
No
of-
spoilers.
Are we gonna
Yeah.
spoil?
Don't spoil
We
it.
can spoil.
I don't think you should.
All right. Well, we
Colleen
won't.
hasn't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Yeah,
well, that's
I
why
haven't
we
seen
don't.
it. Yes,
Yes.
Don't spoil it for me.
I wouldn't
spoil it.
spoil that movie for Colleen because
Thanks.
that's a twist that's just like, oh
Well, that twist kind of brings the whole movie together.
yeah. So you kind
does.
of need you need to like watch it and then
Don't
realize
ruin
it.
this for me, okay?
All I can say is don't expect John Wick 3.
Okay.
Jeez,
Well, I mean, I
one
haven't
or
seen.
two, so
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's.
Expect a beautiful movie.
Okay.
It was beautiful.
It was
yeah.
absolutely.
I heard some of the soundtrack, and that already like sold
yeah.
me.
The
so-
soundtrack is
is
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Cinematography is damn near perfect. It's
Yeah.
so good.
I liked it. We saw it twice.
The movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Wyatt was meh on the second time.
Yeah.
But
Every
I feel
time
like
I
I
see
liked
this
it
movie,
more.
it gets worse.
You don't
I
like
liked it
I'll
more.
explain. I think so. The first time I saw it, I was kind of swept up in how great I thought it was. And really, everybody who came to play for this movie did a great job. Like the director, even the editor, the cinematographer. Obviously, Charlize Theron is killing it. And very
She
good
did
role
like
for her.
almost all her own stunts,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saving for last to talk about the
Oh,
stunts
sorry.
in this movie.
So-
like
so
that
don't talk
is-
about it.
So if you can just shut the fuck up,
Sorry.
that'd be great. No.
Moving on.
No, but the one thing, my big critique on this movie, and the first time I saw it, just something didn't sit right. Like I left thinking that was good, but like I feel weird. I don't know why I feel
did
so
too.
weird. Yeah.
Feel weird.
And then I watched it again, and I realized that this movie's like it has the weirdest like problem where it ends like 3 or 4 times. Like this movie could be a real tight hour and a half, and then it just keeps going, and then it just keeps going, and then it just keeps going, and then it's at the point where sure the stuff that you're getting after the first it just keeps going moment is good. It's like you don't need it. Like you have to be okay to cut shit out. It really like
So you
just.
think it should have been edited better?
I think this movie definitely could have been edited better. And I also think it could have been written better. Like I think when it comes down to the technical aspects is where this movie really shines, and I think everything else kind of falls apart. And I think it starts with a bad script, and then it ends with an editor who doesn't have enough gold to cut it out. Like to cut out so like I say the ending, like the twist is important. Like leave that in.
But the things before that could have been.
Yeah, like the ending speech, and this isn't spoiling anything, but there's an end speech with James McAvoy. It's the last time these two characters speak. Just end the movie right there. But you don't. The movie goes on for like another half hour after
Yeah.
that, and it really drags its heels. Because that's the natural resolution to the story. You don't get any new information after that. That's the thing. Every scene that you have in the movie should be giving you new information. Otherwise, your audience just starts to like kind
The
of
rest
curdle.
was just flair.
It was, and it doesn't. The only movie I've ever seen do that and like not trip over itself is the Avengers. Like it gets to the end, you know during the Battle of New York that it's gonna be okay, but you're watching it like woo, like it's great. And in this movie, it's not because you're getting the same old shit again and again, but this time it's not giving you new information. So that's the only thing that bothered me about this movie. But the stunts, holy shit!
Yeah.
The I won't ruin it, but the hallway fight scene, the long take. It's like a 20-minute take or something nuts. I don't know how long it really is, but it really felt that long. It's probably going to be the most talked about long shot for a very long time because it goes on for freaking ever. The fighting is brutal, and it's so well done. Like everyone was talking about this Daredevil scene when it came out and how great it is. That makes that look like a project. It makes it look like a little film school project compared to what they did in this movie with a long take in the hallway.
And what she had to sacrifice to go through that physically, just the whole movie in general, I can't even imagine.
She was all in for it too.
Yep,
which I think made it even better. Like she was in for it, she was ready, she was excited, and you can like tell through her performance that she was like, heck yeah,
pumped.
yeah.
Oh, she was ready. She was enjoying. She was hamming it up.
Heck yeah.
She was being real hammy.
What up?
And I liked it.
Yeah.
Don't ever use that
worked.
word again.
Hammy.
She was hammy AF.
Well, that's the last movie, unless anyone has any value add here.
No.
All right. Well, we're going to go to a new segment that we like to call Throwback / Rewatches.
Throwback.
/Rewatches.
Heck yeah.
Was that a false setup?
So, Katie May and Colleen have done something that we all do, but they have some thoughts on what they have done, and that is murder. No.
That we all do.
Good old-fashioned murder.
You know what it is.
So everybody rewatches movies, and especially ones that you just don't sit right with you. Like I rewatched The Atomic Blonde because it wasn't sitting right, and I genuinely had to figure it out. And I remember
you just punched it in the mouth.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember watching The Founder with Katie May, which is what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
And I remember watching it with Katie May leaving the theater, and she was like, meh. But something must not have hit the note where she could put her finger on it because she went back to the well and watched it again. And now she's got some additional thoughts.
Yeah, I did. So when I first watched the movie, I was like, it's kind of slow. And I took the brother side, the brothers.
Real McDonald brothers.
The McDonald brothers.
Yeah.
Nick Offerman and that other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that other
Zodiac.
guy.
John
He's the
Carroll
Zodiac
Lynch.
killer from the Zodiac.
John
I'm
Carroll
gonna punch
Lynch.
everybody right now.
Zodiac
Continue.
and Ron Swanson.
But I didn't really give it a lot of thought. But then, I kept thinking about it every time I saw McDonald's, which isn't hard on McKnight Road. And I had to rewatch it. So I downloaded it when we were flying back from New Orleans to Pittsburgh, and I rewatched it. And it actually changed my opinion about it. And I took, what's his name?
Ray Kroc.
Yeah, Ray Kroc's side. And
You
the
took
reason
the Founder's side?
Yeah. And the reason is that he gave every opportunity to everybody in his life to be a part of what he was doing, that he was going to make this empire, and they were all like, no, that's not right. And
They kept pushing him off.
yeah, and he was like, well, I'm going to do it anyways. You can be with me or against me. And then they were all kind of like butthurt because he became awesome and did this empire and just grew it and
took their business.
And took their business, but he gave them every opportunity to be a part of it. And I felt like I didn't really see that the first time because I was like, wow, this guy's such a freaking
It just
jerk.
seems like he stole it, and
Yeah, he stole it.
maybe that's why the movie felt so weird for me, because I'm thinking it's trying to make you feel sympathetic for this guy who outright stole something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you watch it at first, you're like, I don't want to feel I know you're trying really hard to make me feel sorry for this guy, but I just can't because he's a bad guy.
But then when you rewatch it, his first wife is kind of a jerk and isn't really that supportive at first, and then when she sees that it's taking off, she's like, oh hey. And then just the brothers who are just shooting him down, but at the same time they did agree to have him start stuff. So it just changed my mind on it.
I think this was interesting because it almost portrays both sides of the American dream, and I really had a hard time dealing with this movie too because I'm like, what are they trying to say? Is capitalism good or bad?
It's really hard.
I really just couldn't figure out the message of it, so I was like, well, maybe they're just trying to show both sides and show like certain dichotomies between like Ray Kroc is both the hero and the villain, and these brothers and him both like are just, I think, epitomizing the American dream, and that like you got to go out and work for what you want. You can't like let people say no, which is like the whole situation, because like the brothers like worked hard for what they wanted. They started their own business, and then Ray Kroc was like, well, I'm not letting you tell me no, I'm doing my thing. So it's like almost both sides, and it's like really hard to like, I think, just visualize that or like conceptualize that, because you're like, but they're both right.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, that's the problem with this movie, and why like when it came out it was received, I guess you can say, lukewarm.
Yeah.
Like everyone was kind of like, it's okay. And I think that's because, and the reason I'm glad you guys brought it up is that it's one of those movies, and there are a lot of movies like this. I think there are a lot of really good movies that have this problem when it first came out. Mm-hmm. Is that when you first watch it, because there's so much to dissect, you definitely can't just do it in the moment, especially when you're trying to absorb everything for the first time. You look at it and you just go, there's so much, you kind of glaze over everything. Mm-hmm. And instead, because there's so many things you could latch onto and analyze, and you're glazing over all of it, you just kind of go, well, that was a lot of weird nothing. And it was weird. Yeah. And it was nothing because you couldn't latch on. But then as you go back again, and you go back again, and you go back again, then you can look at it and go, oh, okay, and then you can deal with this concept and that concept. I think there are a lot of good movies like that, but I'm glad you guys bring that up, because now, maybe, who knows, if you guys aren't the only people to have that thought about this movie, it might be a studied movie going forward.
I hope so.
The closest thing I can compare it to is going to be The Social Network.
Ooh,
to be honest, it's kind of actually has a lot of similarities, obviously, with the whole taking over an industry and mastering, because at this point everybody knows who McDonald's is, everybody knows what Facebook is. I don't think it really necessarily needs to take a side. Like, you absolutely, like, you watched it twice and you probably could take it, either way. And that's not, I don't think that's the point. I think the vision of it was more of, one, McDonald's doesn't grow to be what it is without him. Yeah. So whether or not you like him, it doesn't really matter. Like, he's good at what he does. And to be honest, he's a scumbag in my opinion. It's like, still, like, he had shady business practices with the people that trusted in him. And I thought Michael Keaton did a great job. And the other guy you were talking about is John Carroll Lynch, who is one of the
Zodiac Killer.
What's up?
Sorry, Ted Cruz.
Yeah. But he's absolutely amazing. I mean, that dude is chameleon, can play any role he wants, and he did a great job. Obviously, Nick Offerman also did another great job. But I think the thing with it is, too, is I didn't want to take a side, but absolutely without him, McDonald's would not have existed. They would have run it into the ground, or it would have passed. A lot of things would have passed it up. And kind of the same thing, obviously, with The Social Network, which I thought Jesse Eisenberg did a great job with that as well. But it's more the thing is, like, Aaron Sorkin was writing that script just out of base facts. He didn't care about hurting anybody's feelings. It was more about, like, this is exactly what happened. And whether you like him or not, Facebook wouldn't have happened without him either. So I think it's more just like telling the actual story. Yeah. Which is the most honest thing you can do as a screenwriter, and especially as a director, to make sure that you're telling the truth. You don't have to. I mean, there's a lot of stories that are true that are still far-fetched and made up. But I think it's actually to the bullet points as close as they could be. And I like seeing all sides of it, because, like, even we're talking about the wife. In my opinion, like, the wife kind of towards the end was influenced a lot by the lifestyle, and it was like, hey, like, she didn't know what she had in him, in a sense. Yeah. But also, he treated her horribly throughout their marriage anyways. Like, he wasn't giving her the time. Like, that a husband really should be devoting to his wife. As well as, like, in the beginning, these brothers were all for bringing him on, because they saw value in bringing him on as a partner. But then they didn't realize the monster that they were bringing on there. And, that's the thing in business. You got to understand who you can trust, who you can't trust. I mean, it was literally weeks within knowing him, or it seemed as if it could have been, over a period of months, where they were trusting him to give a lot of power over to something that they've controlled, started from the ground up. And it doesn't happen without them either, because, he didn't think of that idea. He come across these burgers and loved the concept of it, but he was willing to adapt and change with the times, and they weren't. They wanted to stay true to their values.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like one of those things of like necessary evil you think of in real life. Like, is it worth kind of giving up this to earn that money, or is it worth you could relate to that in any part of your life. What decisions you make and what the results are going to be of it. So that's why I connected with the movie a lot. Just not even on a business practice, just as like a life choices in a sense.
Right.
And I thought the cast did great. Like everything was done very well with them. So.
Oh yeah, I definitely liked it a second time though.
Yeah, you did. That's good.
Well, while you guys were, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say he was a dream.
He was a what?
He was a dream.
A dream?
Yeah.
Who was a dream?
Yeah, he was the main character. He was a dream in that role.
Oh, and Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so lost.
Oh my goodness.
Moving along.
I think she was sleeping. That's what she was saying. She was dreaming of...
I just need to point out his acting, okay?
I looked up movies that originally opened to bad reviews and then came back to the light after like reviewing it, kind of like we're doing right
Bringing
now.
Up Baby. That
yes,
happened.
also Bringing Up Baby.
Throwbacks.
Let's see. Going through here, Pretty Woman initially received poorly. Was obviously now a very popular movie. Things like Caddyshack, Fight Club.
Ooh,
originally poorly reviewed. Let's see.
By one of the greatest directors of all time, David Fincher.
Whoa. Speaking of great directors, The Shining, very poorly reviewed when it came out.
Yeah,
Actually, it took a long time to get the following that it is now curated.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I'm coming from someone who's seen The Shining now more than once. I also didn't really care for it the first time I saw it.
wow.
Like when I first saw The Shining, I remember I was like 13 years old, and I heard that it was like one of the greatest horror movies ever.
Yeah.
So when I watched it, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's be scared shitless. And I remember watching it going like, this movie blows. Like it didn't bother me at all. And then I saw it a second time, and that's when I really started to dig into it from just like a film perspective and from the symbolism that's in it and how everything is set up and how everything works together. I started to then just like, in the second viewing, I really appreciated it. Still slightly ticked that like nothing in it scares me, but that's because I think it's more of a product of its time than anything else.
Well, and
So like old movies, like movies that are made before 1994, don't scare me.
But it's also kind of
At
made
all.
like before its time. Like you're talking about, it wasn't receptive well until
Yeah.
years later. And like the Scarface was the same way. Like Oliver Stone got almost kicked out of freaking Hollywood because with Scarface going the way it did, everybody was offended when they went in there. And it wasn't actually until the 90s when that became a big perception, because that's when a lot of culture change was happening in America.
And Goodfellas came out.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too, is like when the gangster movies started getting accepted, that people weren't really offended at that, of that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
But that's another movie that was absolutely before its time.
I guess Footloose, I don't know much about this, but I guess Footloose was also poorly received. The original Halloween, I can definitely see that. Kind of the first of the slasher movies. Usually if it's a first of anything, it's not really.
Yeah, Trailblazers get knocked down really easy.
So I guess this movie came out, it was not super popular, and we all know what that turned into. Fuck. The original Alien, also not super well received when it came out. Yeah. Not that we're comparing the founder to The Shining. But also, I'm glad that this came up. I wasn't even going to bring it up. But The Dark Tower is technically in the same universe as The Shining.
So we're comparing The Dark Tower to The Shining?
No.
Yes, that's what I heard.
I'm just saying that it's definitely, and they don't shy away from it. It's not something like you have to be a Stephen King fan to figure it out. Like it's very blatantly related to The Shining. It's so what I understand. I wanted to read about this. I'm like, are they just throwing some Shining shit in here because fuck it?
They're like, let's get some more money.
Yeah, but I guess it's actually in the Dark Tower. Technically, in Stephen King's book universe, they're all connected. Every single book is connected, and he doesn't do that deliberately from book to book. Like, no, this will tie into this book, and this will tie into this book. That's not how it is. But
it's just because he's a psychopath genius.
No, like the Dark Tower series of books is the center of this universe, and basically the way it works is the Dark Tower itself is what separates all these different universes, and they're like 5 or 6 or something like that. But the Dark Tower separates them, and if the Dark Tower falls, then all of the universes will, like the barriers will be broken down, and then all chaos will be unleashed because these dimensions cannot.
So it's like a film universe about an actual universe.
Yeah.
Wow.
So really, this groundwork was already laid down. So what the Dark Tower is about Matthew McConaughey, the Man in Black, trying to tear down the Dark Tower, and the only way you can do it is with the mind of a child. Like you actually have to harness the mind of a child. Like
is that because it's like the most pure, innocent?
It wasn't really explained, but that's what you're led to assume.
Yeah.
So these kids get strapped into a chair, and they're literally sucking like the life force out of these kids' brains and shooting it at the tower like a gun. But if you remember The Shining, in The Shining, the kid kind of has telepathic,
he can shine.
psychic powers. Yeah, he has the shine, is what they call it. So the main character in the Dark Tower also has the shine.
He can shine.
And
He does. He has the shine. So that's what they keep in The Shining. They go, he has the shine.
and that's
In this movie, frequently they said, that kid, he has the shine. Like they were talking about it like it was a normal thing in that universe.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that, like when you look at any writer who's going to do something like that, they're always trying to relate things to real life. So you look at the culture that we're in now and why these things are more widely accepted is because like now we're willing to accept different things. This doesn't have to always be everybody goes by this normal culture. Now we're actually able to accept other people.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but it's more it's okay to live in this day and age and live out your natural inhibitions and be who you want to be. And it's actually usually the youth who are able to use their imagination more. A lot of people will do their 9 to 5 and not have any imagination when they come home. It's kind of they're just drained.
Yeah.
So at this point,
It's definitely a good metaphor for that.
Absolutely.
It is. And I think, if you think about it, the Dark Tower movie, I know you guys haven't seen it, but the Dark Tower movie could have easily been like
The Shining.
No. Could have been the big climax to this, Stephen King cinematic universe, where if you had, because It is coming out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, they're making that the 2 movies, which is
So
awesome.
if you have It, right, and then you have The Shining that's already out there, and then you have the Dark Tower. Dark Tower 1, like there's enough material there, you could have done a Dark Tower 1. And this movie is about the battle for this tower. Why don't you save that for the last thing, and maybe have a little bit of fun with, like, as the tower falls, you can kind of see into the other universes, and you can see the clown, and you can see Jack
especially if you're going to
Nicholson
spend that
wailing
much money into it,
Yeah.
it would make sense to
do that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's another end game, and like this was just because the battle is pretty like a very small scale in this movie. So maybe this was just like the first offense, and then the last movie that comes from the Dark Tower maybe does blend all this stuff together. Because I can only imagine if all these Stephen King movies are coming out now with Dark Tower and It, and they're relating to The Shining, and they have plans for other Dark Towers. There's a Dark Tower TV show coming out as well that is actually related to the movie.
So they probably felt like they had to get that out there to start connecting.
That's what I mean. Like, regardless if this movie is good or bad, the groundwork needs to be there for this stuff to start making sense.
Interesting.
That's what it looks like.
Maybe these guys know what they're doing. They don't care if they're going to take a loss in this movie. They're looking to set this up.
They might be. Maybe they looked at it as, listen, we could really turn this Dark Tower thing into something, but there's a much bigger base of Stephen King books out there that we can make into a better cinematic universe than just the Dark Tower.
It's our conspiracy theory.
That to me makes sense. That's the only reason that any of the decision making that went on makes any sense.
Yeah.
Is if they thought, I understand that the Dark Tower will be good, but the Stephen Kingiverse will be even better. So if we just compress all the Dark Towers because we need this one idea, and it's in the last book, that'll work. It'll piss some people off, but hey, we'll make way more money.
But they'll come back because they're all nerds.
It's true.
Nerds always come back.
It looks really good.
Yes, I am. Well, and it's funny because it's like shot for shot. The trailer is like shot for shot of the original.
Yeah.
And I'm still like, usually that pisses people off. Like, oh, you're just gonna remake and be lazy and do shot for shot. But I'm actually like,
but in Annabelle Creation, they did in the very beginning before the movie starts, they let you see like the first 3 to 4 minutes of the movie, and you get like a good solid glimpse at the portrayal of Pennywise. and it's fucking
Oh,
terrifying.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh,
You're
man.
like sucked in right
Oh
away.
yeah, like you're watching it, and I was thinking what you were thinking. I'm watching the first 3 or 4 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I've seen this before on the made-for-TV movie.
Yeah.
And then when Pennywise starts talking, it's like captivating. Like when he starts talking, you're like, whoa.
That was like one of my first scary movies I ever saw. Was it?
Yeah.
And
Whoever's playing Pennywise right now, dude, he sucks you in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
He
awesome.
does it. He does it good.
Yep, it was a good because if anyone was skeptical on seeing that movie and then sees this little 3 or 4 minutes,
They will. You.
They will pull, it'll pull anyone right in.
Yep.
Like, that movie has my money already.
I like it.
Cool. Well, that's all I had on my agenda.
Same.
Anyone else have an agenda? Katie Mae, you've been playing Chicken
I
Game
always
for like
have an agenda.
15 minutes, haven't you?
Well, I don't really have anything to say about the Dark Tower. I don't know anything about
Well,
it.
you should see it.
Will you move it along?
Is that what you're playing? Is that the Chicken Game?
Yeah.
God damn it. What is it called? Not a plug. Not a plug.
Oh, I don't know what it's called.
You don't know what it's
Egg
called?
Inc.
Egg Inc. So what Katie Mae's been doing while we're talking about the Stephen Kingiverse, it's literally a game where you click one button and it lets chickens out of a house so they can run into another house.
And then you upgrade the houses to upgrade your farm.
So you can get more chickens.
Can I download an app that blows all your fucking houses up?
I only have one house right now.
I'll fry all your damn chicken.
Well,
Fried chicken is
You make the
good.
chickens so they can make eggs, so you can sell the eggs, so you can upgrade your farm.
Whoa. Thanks for telling
I'll
us.
take mine over easy.
Well, that seems to be all we have. Special thanks to Colleen for making the trip down here to
You're welcome.
share her thoughts and words with us.
That's
And
the only reason she came down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Honestly,
leaving
Colleen
tomorrow.
has been badgering us for days since she's been here to do this. She was not going to leave without doing it.
Yeah.
So
This
all
podcast is
27
getting kinda
people
big.
can hear her opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Needed to get
well,
my voice
Yep.
out.
Get
We're
it out
bigger
there.
than podcasts with only 10 people, so.
Yeah. So if you're a podcast out there that has 10 people, fuck you.
We're bigger than you!
We're bigger and better. That's not true.
I'll spit right in your face.
Wow.
Idiots.
Spit right in your face. In your mouth.
I will. I will actually take my microphone and shove it down your fucking throat.
Alright, moving along.
Moving on. Moving on.
Ooh,
Actually-
Cat's home with pizza.
Moving on to the end because the pizza's here. Well, farewell, folks.
Love you.